Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. Meanwhile, the Nether Sect forces at the southern, northern, and western gates of the divine capital began their assault as well. Boom. 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 In the skies above the eastern gate, Hua Chongyang hovered in the air and studied the city walls. All of a sudden, he saw hundreds of huge projectiles shooting toward him. Break. Hua Chongyang summoned his avatar and made it spin. It released a strong blast of energy, repelling the projectiles. The projectiles were instantly destroyed, and the shrapnels fell to the ground. The Nether Sect members on the ground attacked the city swiftly. All of a sudden, 5 bow-wielding cultivators flew up from the eastern city wall. They pulled on their bowstrings and shot at the Nether Sect disciples on the ground. Swoosh. 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 Every fired arrow would take out one Nether Sect disciple. The 5 archers continued to fire their shots. In no time at all, they claimed the lives of dozens of Nether Sect disciples. On the flying chariot, Zhenghai frowned slightly when he saw this. Godly archers? The advantages of godly archers in a defensive battle were greater. Wuya smiled and said, "They're sending their godly archers out now. Looks like the divine capital isn't too well equipped with defense mechanisms." You have a point, wise brother. Zhenghai frowned slightly as he glanced at his fallen brethren on the ground. Such was war. It was impossible for there to be no casualties. This was the price they had to pay. If he stopped now to mourn the dead instead of attacking, it would be the greatest insult to the fallen. What he needed to do now was to take down the divine capital, to achieve the goal everyone was working for. I'll deal with them. Wuya leaped out. The peacock plume spun out from his hand with a dazzling light. Plume spreading. When the peacock plume was attached to his back, Wuya spread his hands out. A pair of golden wings unfurled from his back at the same time. He dove down and flew past the city wall. Be careful, Mr. Seventh. Hua Chongyang looked up and cautioned. Don't worry. When the 5 golden archers saw the pair of huge wings diving toward them, their eyes widened. They hastily put their bows away and descended. Retreat. Dozens of garrison soldiers covered the godly archers as they retreated. Wuya smiled coldly. Avatar. His 6-leaf avatar expanded swiftly. His peacock plume disintegrated into energy arrows at this moment and shot at his 5 targets. Block it. Every energy needle was extremely sharp. Bam. 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 The energy needles were like golden icicles during winter. They penetrated the chests of the soldiers. All of a sudden, a loud explosion rang in the air. The energy needles hit the godly archers. The godly archers stared at their bloodied chests incredulously. Soon after, they fell to the ground. Their eyes were brimming with shock as they looked at the city wall. The energy needles had cleanly pierced through their chest and were embedded on the city wall before slowly fading away into thin air. Thud. When they fell, they saw that their other comrades had fallen prey to the same fatal technique. Ding. Killed a target. Reward, 100 merit points. 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 Zhou opened his eyes. He stopped meditating on the heavenly writing scrolls and walked out of the eastern pavilion. He called out softly, Hua Yueshing. Hua Yueshing was cultivating in the western pavilion. When she heard Zhou calling out to her, she stopped cultivating immediately and swiftly flew to the eastern pavilion. Greetings, Pavilion Master, Hua Yueshing said with a bow. What's your cultivation base now? A remorseful expression appeared on Hua Yueshing's face as she said, I've recultivated to the 2-leaf stage. Zhou flipped his palm. The golden Taishu mirror materialized in his palm. There was a surge of primal chi before the golden Taishu mirror glowed. Then, he pointed it at Hua Yueshing. A projection of her avatar appeared immediately. It was just as she had said, it had 2 leaves. Not bad. Zhou nodded, pleased. What do you mean, Pavilion Master? Head to the divine capital. Remember to prioritize your safety, Zhou calmly said. Yes, Pavilion Master. Hua Yueshing responded. Before Hua Yueshing could leave, Hua Wudao walked into the eastern pavilion, bowed, and said, Pavilion Master, I'm willing to go to the divine capital with Yueshing. Zhou did not immediately agree to Hua Wudao's request. Instead, he pointed the golden Taishu mirror at him. Hua Wudao's avatar was revealed in the golden Taishu mirror, 4-leaf. After considering for a brief moment, he said, Hua Wudao. Your orders, Pavilion Master? You'll protect Hua Yueshing. Remember to prioritize your lives in the battle of the divine capital. Yes, Pavilion Master. Hua Wudao and Hua Yueshing bowed in unison before they turned around to descend the mountain. Zhou shook his head and cursed under his breath, rascal. Soon enough, the other elders appeared outside the eastern pavilion. Zhou turned to look at the 3 elders and asked, You wish to go as well? Zhuyu bowed and said, If you need me to, big brother, I'll go. Zhou shook his head and said, The divine capital has the 10-terminal formation. Even I am not confident I'll be able to break it. You'll only be rushing to your deaths if you go. Hua Yueshing is a godly archer, and she has the falling moon bow. Outside the divine capital, she'll be a great help. Hua Wudao is skilled in defense, and he can protect Hua Yueshing. If the 2 of them work together, they can fight against a 1,000-man army. The 3 elders nodded. They were bags of old bones. Well, they could have displayed their might if there were no 10-terminal formation. With the 10-terminal formation in place, the 3 of them might not even be capable of defeating young people in the body-tempering realm inside the divine capital. They could not possibly linger around the perimeter of the divine capital with their avatars, after all. Indeed, it was rather pointless for them to go there. At the end of the day, it all depended on the Nether Sect to conquer the divine capital. At this moment, Conk and Little Yuan walked in while holding hands. They greeted Zhou in unison, Greetings, Master. Zhou looked at the 2 young girls and asked, What is it? Little Yuan mumbled, Master, I heard about eldest senior brother from 4th senior brother. I feel sorry for eldest senior brother. Should I go and help him out? Behave yourself. I know what you mean, Master. The divine capital has the 10-terminal formation, but Conk can do something about it. Little Yuan turned to look at Conk. Isn't that right, Conk? Little Conk nodded. Master, I can ask the beasts to help. The 3 elders brightened up. Indeed, this was a great weapon. Zhou raised his hand and pointed the golden Taishu mirror at Conk. A miniature avatar appeared before the golden Taishu mirror. 6 recombinant trigram lines. When they saw this avatar, the 3 elders were shocked. This little girl is a rare talent. To think that her avatar is already at the 6 recombinant trigram lines. Come to think of it, the little girl's cultivation base is already in the divine court realm. She directly entered the mystic enlightening realm before taking 5 months to enter the Brahman Sea realm, and finally entering the divine court realm after a month. I'm starting to think she's not human, Zhuyu said. Upon hearing this, Conk took 2 steps backward. She was slightly afraid of Zhu유's gaze. Zhou remembered the red avatar. There were still great secrets regarding Conk's identity. Hence, he said, enough. The others bowed. Since Conk is my disciple, I'll naturally protect her. From this day on, nothing about her is to be known beyond this mountain. I'll only say this once. His voice was not forceful, but it carried with it an absolute air. The three elders bowed at the same time. Yes, Pavilion Master. Something stirred in Pan Litian. He could not help but cough as a thought appeared in his mind. Could it be that this little girl is truly the Pavilion Master's daughter born out of wedlock? You have a question, Elder Pan? Zhou looked at Pan Litian. Pan Litian was slightly taken aback. He hastily said, I have no questions. I'm just shocked by this little girl's talent. If Pan Zhong is so talented, I'd die a happy man. Old Pan, you're too greedy. Pan Zhong is talented enough. He has mastered his 3 Yin technique and 6 Yang technique. Moreover, he has already reached the 2-leaf stage over the last 6 months. I'm sure he'll be able to inherit your legacy soon enough, Lang Luo said with a smile. Pan Litian cleared his throat and asked, Are you jealous? Get lost. Lang Luo turned around coldly. Zhou Yushu looked at Pan Litian, but her words were clearly addressed to Zhou. You're comparing her talent to Pan Zhong when I think it's better than mine? Pan Litian shook his head at once. Fine, I've misspoken. Everyone, please accept my humble apology. He could endure the veiled insults from the 2 elders anymore. At this moment, a female cultivator pushed a wooden wheelchair that carried Yi Tianxin to the eastern pavilion. Soon enough, the white-haired Yi Tianxin appeared before everyone's eyes. 6th senior sister. Aside from her weak life aura, Yi Tianxin's breathing and condition were stable. When she saw Zhou in front of the eastern pavilion, she rose to her feet immediately and bowed. Greetings, master. Zhou stroked his beard and nodded. He studied Yi Tianxin. Her life aura was weak, but the flow of her aura was normal. This was not something he saw every day. What is it? Yi Tianxin said, I'm willing to head to the divine capital and help eldest senior brother. Behave yourself. Zhou waved his sleeve and went up the stairs. When he arrived at the entrance of the eastern pavilion, he stopped in his tracks and said, Nobody else is allowed to go without my permission. All communication with the outside world shall be done by letters. Yes, master. Zhou turned around and entered the room. 3 days later. Above the eastern side of the divine capital. The Nether Sect's huge chariot hovered in the air. After 3 days of assaults, the entire eastern wall was riddled with holes. Corpses were strewn all over the city walls. Many of them were still bleeding. The metallic scent of blood permeated the air. The Nether Sect disciples had occupied the city walls. The flying chariot moved slowly. The Nether Sect disciples followed the flying chariot as they marched on. Zhenghai, who was looking down at the divine capital, could see the overall situation of the battle. Wise brother, when is the divine capital activating the 10-terminal formation? Si Wuya was the grand tutor in the palace for a period of time. He studied the 10-terminal formation before as well. He was slightly knowledgeable about this. There's no need to worry, eldest senior brother. Even if Lu Gu activates the 10-terminal formation, we have nothing to fear. The 10-terminal formation will block all incoming primal chi. Everyone inside the formation can only fight with their own physical strength and techniques. We have several 100,000 members. We're at least on par with the divine capital. With you here, wise brother, we can hold off an entire army. Zhenghai said with a sincere smile. At this moment, Hua Chongyang flew back toward them. He landed on the flying chariot. With a bow, he said, Sect Master, we've gained control of the eastern wall. Very good. Zhenghai glanced at the situation below and said, Hua Chongyang, reinforce the northern gate. Report to me at once should anything occur. Yes, Sect Master. Wait. Your orders, Sect Master? Ride my Kuainyo there. Zhenghai said. Hua Chongyang started. He immediately fell to one knee. How can I? You can. Zhenghai stepped forward and held Hua Chongyang's arm. He said, You fought alongside me for many years without complaining about the hardships. That's how we're able to arrive here today. Now that success is only one step away, I won't be able to rest easy if something were to happen to you. Hua Chongyang was greatly moved. He said, "Don't worry, sect master. Go." Yu Zhenghai patted Hua Chongyang's shoulder. Yu Zhenghai unleashed a sound technique. Behind the Nether Sect's forces, Kuei Niu rose into the air and flew toward Hua Chongyang. Hua Chongyang leaped onto Kuei Niu's back and flew toward the northern city gate. Currently, apart from a handful of bold characters, the divine capital was practically deserted. The divine capital's garrison soldiers were the only ones hurrying along the streets. The Imperial Guards are moving out. It's the Imperial Guards. Look out. The Imperial Guard flew out in formations from the Imperial City at a low altitude. All of them wore black armor. It was said that 30,000 Imperial Guards defended the Imperial City all year round. These 30,000 men were the strongest force of the Imperial City. Their leaders, the 8 great generals, were elites among those in the cultivation world. Although only 2 of the generals were left, the Imperial Guards were not to be taken lightly. At this moment, a group of them moving in a neat square formation summoned their 10 worlds avatars as they sped toward the northern gate. At the northern gate, the 4 branch masters of the Nether Sect hovered in the air. Keep at it, brothers. The city gate is falling. At the base of the city gates, the Nether Sect disciples attacked in an orderly fashion. At this moment, Kuei Niu's cry reached them. Moo! The 4 branch masters looked in the direction of the sound. An expression of joy appeared on their faces. They bowed and said, "Welcome, Protector." Hua Chongyang stood on Kuei Niu's back. He looked at the teetering city gate and at the top of the city wall. The towering man-made wall was a manifestation of man's greatest wisdom. Continue with the attack. Understood. Hua Chongyang rose higher as he looked at the south of the city. He saw several hundred cultivators speeding here with their 10 worlds avatars. Incoming. Understood. At this moment, hundreds of Imperial Guards flew up the city wall. They leaped off the wall and dove toward the Nether Sect disciples. Hua Chongyang shouted coldly, "Kill! Kill! Kill!" The 4 branch masters summoned their avatars in the air. 400 Tribulations Insight avatars with 2-leaf golden lotuses appeared in the air. The avatars swept through the Imperial Guard, causing a shower of blood to rain down. Half of the Imperial Guard's forces were gone. Hua Chongyang no longer paid attention to the Imperial Guard soldiers. He returned his gaze to the city. Although the Nether Sect had a huge advantage now, he did not let his guard down. After all, up until now, the elites of the Imperial Guards had yet to show themselves. Boom! A thunderous noise rang in the air as the northern city gate opened. The Nether Sect disciples swarmed into the divine capital and began killing the Imperial Guards. Hua Chongyang flew forward. Just when he was about to cross the city wall, a gray figure suddenly appeared. He cried out coldly, "I've been waiting for you." There was a blur of movement as the figure struck with his palm. The Daoist Cut's hand seal. Great Blitz treasure seal. Swoosh. A shining golden palm seal sailed in the air. Hua Chongyang's expression darkened as he blocked with his arms. Bam! Hua Chongyang reeled back with Kuei Niu. Kuei Niu cried out as it flew backward and landed on Hua Chongyang. Hua Chongyang grunted. He struck at the air to stabilize himself. Then, he looked at the elite who had suddenly appeared above the city wall. He released a sound wave. Stop. The Nether Sect disciples at the northern gate stopped and looked up. Hua Chongyang stood atop Kuei Niu. He suppressed his boiling blood essence as he faced his opponent from a distance. You are one of the 8 great generals of the Imperial Guards, Xian Jingyun. Oh, it's Senior Xian, a Daoist elite. Your reputation precedes you. I didn't expect you to only be superficially wounded after taking a hit from me. Xian Jingyun hovered in the air with his hands on his back. He looked at the Nether Sect disciples on the ground. Senior Xian. The divine capital's time is up, why must you go against the will of the heavens? My sect master is meting out justice on behalf of the heavens. He wishes to remedy the evils and help the people. If you're willing to surrender, you'll enjoy endless glory. Hua Chongyang said. I'm sorry. I have that already. Whiz. An 8-leaf avatar towered in the air. The Nether Sect members dared not advance. By decree of the Emperor, everyone from the Nether Sect is to be killed without exception. There was a flurry of movements as Xian Jingyun flew toward Hua Chongyang. He launched another huge palm seal. No. Hua Chongyang did not expect this 8-leaf elite to be in such a hurry to fight. He immediately launched dozens of palm seals in retaliation. However, the difference between the 8-leaf and 7-leaf stage were too huge. His palm seals merely managed to slow down the incoming attack. It was not long before he was overwhelmed by Xian Jingyun's palm seal. Swoosh. Fall back. Fall back. The Nether Sect disciples retreated from the city gate. Bam. Hua Chongyang reeled from the 8-leaf elite's attack. With his hands on his back, Xian Jingyun sped forward. The Nether Sect's 4 great protectors? Is that all you've got? He dove forward slightly. A hint of killing intent glinted in his eyes as he flipped his palm. I'll be taking your life. Whoosh. Xian Jingyun disappeared into thin air. In the next second, he appeared next to Hua Chongyang and struck with his palm. First seat. First seat. The Azure Dragon Hall's Hua Chongyang was in trouble. When the 4 branch masters saw this, they summoned their avatars at the same time. They shot toward Xian Jingyun like fired arrows. Bam. Xian Jingyun sent Hua Chongyang flying with a single palm strike. He looked at the 4 branch masters coldly. You overestimate your own strength.